Welcome back, America. Hugh Hewitt from Nashville, the Republican Governors Association, sitting across from my friend Doug Ducey, governor of Arizona, very successful governor of Arizona, and the chairman of the Republican Governors Association. How's your conference going, Governor, after a year of sort of not meeting anywhere?
We're off to a great start. It's sold out, standing room only. I think we originally anticipated 300 people participating. It's at over 700 individuals that are going to be here, and 21 of our 27 Republican governors.
Well, congratulations on that. I'm asking them all, the governors I talked to, the same question. I want to make sure I ask you. And it's an interesting question coming after the pandemic. Is federalism working? Did the government at the federal level help, hinder, or simply not a factor in your pandemic response and across the board?
Well, I would say federalism is working. When we were going through the pandemic, say a year ago at this time, Arizona was not yet in the thick of it. Yet if you look at New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, they were really in the barrel. We would do this conference call every Thursday night that I would host. All the Republican governors would participate, and Charlie Baker from Massachusetts would tell us what was going on in Massachusetts. It allowed us to prepare and plan ahead in Arizona. So I think as the virus moved throughout the country, it allowed a very large nation to make specific decisions in the best interest of its citizens.
And so at the end of this, is Arizona reopening, in your view?
Oh, Arizona is wide open. We are wide open. We never had a lockdown. Any decisions we made were limited and targeted. We prioritized lives and livelihoods throughout this. If we have any work left to do, it's to make certain we catch our kids up in school. Schools were not shut for public health reasons, but the public did not want to go into public schools. We had those issues around that, so of course we've got to get our kids caught up. We know so much more than we did in the February, March, April time frame, and now we want to have those after-hour programs, acceleration programs, one-on-one programs to make sure our kids are at grade level.
So obviously, no one plans to be governor during a pandemic. What was the worst part of it? What did you learn through this? You've been a business executive, been in government for 14 years now. What was the curveball of curveballs?
Well, I would say the entire thing, there was a real fog of the pandemic in that March, April time frame when President Trump and Vice President Pence went from 30 days to slow the spread, or 15, which turns it into 30. But I think the communication among governors, the responsiveness that we had from the federal government, the fact that we have a vaccine that is widely rolled out. We had the first mass vaccination site in the country at the home of the Arizona Cardinals, State Farm Stadium. Very thankful to the Bidwell family for opening up the stadium, and then other NFL stadiums followed on. And now we're back and reopened. It appears to me that Nashville and Tennessee is open as well, and I'm seeing the baseball stadiums around the country. It looks like we're anywhere between 100% and 85%. So that's about as close as you can get to fully back reopened, and I think you're seeing that pretty much from East Coast to West Coast.
Now, the Cardinals are playing the Browns this year, so we're going to be on opposite sides of that one, Governor Ducey, but I think they're playing actually up at First Energy, not down at Arizona Stadium. In terms of getting people back to work, where are you there? What's the unemployment in Arizona? And are the unemployment benefits, Governor Gianforte was just saying, they were too high in Montana, you had to cut them?
We have more people working in Arizona today than we did in February of 2020. So we're over our 100% of max employment. That's how we have to measure it because our state's growing so fast. There's such a mass exodus from California. We have so many people arriving in our state. I always say we're Chicago's favorite suburbs. People from the Midwest are coming to our state. But we have more people working. We did stop the federal benefits because we've got more jobs available than we have people to fill them. I think we've got 180,000 jobs available. We had about 57,000 people that remained on the unemployment rolls. So we're going to be able to get those people back into work. We think that a job is important. And rather than being like the federal government and paying people to stay home, we're actually going to incent people to work. We're paying a $2,000 bonus for people that accept a full-time job in the next 45 days and a $1,000 bonus to people that accept a part-time job.
Now, that's pretty remarkable. I haven't heard about that in any other state. Is that a first in the country initiative?
I think we probably put that together. Now, because the governors are competitive, but we are very collegial, we do share best practices, sometimes with attribution. I shared that on our last conference call. I think some folks liked it. They wanted to know how we were doing that within the flexible COVID dollars that the federal government had sent out, and I think you might see that in other places as well.
Did the federal government send too much money, and what do you think about another round of stimulus?
We don't need another round of stimulus. For Arizona, they really did send too much money. We're going to make good long-term decisions with the money. The accusation of a blue state bailout in many ways was very accurate. Our state has a $1 billion in its rainy day fund. We've got a record cash carry forward in our general fund. We've got an historic tax cut that we're likely a few days away if our legislature can get it over the finish line. So I think Arizona is going to come out of this pandemic healthy and strong and economically vibrant, but the federal government continues to send these dollars out. It's distorting the economy. I don't know that we know what the unintended consequences are going to be around potential inflation, et cetera, and I think we ought to let the natural dynamism of the American economy take us forward.
Now, Glenn Youngkin's running for governor in Virginia. I'm sure he's here.
He is.
He's been on the radio with me campaigning, promising.
He was your guy, wasn't he?
Well, yeah, because he's a businessman.
Yeah.
He's like you, and actually will know how to run a government. But he wants to cut a 5.75% income tax because this state, Tennessee, has none, and Florida has none. It just seemed, and my driver yesterday was aware of income tax competition. I think people are hyper aware of taxes when they move.
I think people look to a state that's attractive, where there's economic opportunity and a high quality of life. It's why Arizona's been among the fastest growing states in the country. Maricopa County's been the fastest growing county 4 years running. Our state is booming right now. If we pass this tax cut, we're going to have a 2.5 flat tax across the board. Our top tier tax rate after Prop 208 will be at 4.5%. So it's right there with Texas, Tennessee, and other competitive states. So we're excited about it. I do think Glenn Youngkin would be a big winner for Virginia. You need somebody who's going to focus on the economy, focus on getting these kids back to school. I'm blown away at how they've handled this on the Eastern Seaboard. And then, of course, protecting people's Second Amendment rights, constitutional rights, the things that you'd never think you'd hear about in a state like Virginia.
Now, yesterday I asked all sorts of callers, what do you want me to ask the governors? And many of them said, ask them about election integrity. Now, I think Arizona's got good system because I'm from California, which has a ridiculous system. I'm still getting ballots mailed to me at my old California address. Do you need overhaul of election laws in Arizona?
I don't know that we need overhaul. One thing we've done well in Arizona is we've reformed nearly every cycle since 1993. We were one of the pioneering states on mail-in voting, and we've been doing it well since 1993. We have nearly 80% of our citizens that choose to vote by mail. So we did do some things like make sure that our lists are active and administratively clean, make certain that dollars from people like Mark Zuckerberg are not going to come in and affect the election or the Secretary of State's office, and then also make sure that there's a real check and a balance between the governor's office and the Secretary of State's office, so you could not have an activist election manager inside that office. And we haven't had that, and I don't think we'll have that going forward.
I also told them my number one topic, and I want to ask you, Doug Ducey, is education. Now, you are a charter school heaven. You have a tax credit for people who want to put money into schools. How is that going, and did the public schools react as well as you expected them to this time around?
Well, Arizona leads the nation in school choice. We have over 500 charter schools in our state. That's over 200,000 children in the state of Arizona. Nearly 20% of our kids that are in those charter schools. If you take that as a state, that's the number one state in the nation in terms of economic achievement. Our charters did a great job during the pandemic. They were back to school sooner, getting their kids up to grade level faster. We had certainly some heroic episodes with our public districts as well. We had some that stayed virtual longer than I believe they needed to stay virtual, or longer than public health said they needed to stay virtual. And places like Great Hearts, which is a great place in which to go to school. If Jack, Joe, and Sam Ducey were back at kindergarten level rather than going to Catholic school, they'd be going to Great Hearts. It's got an 11,000 kid wait list. Parents are voting with their feet. They know the rigor and excellence of these educations, and there's other quality charters all across the state of Arizona. It's made our public districts better as well. Arizona kids are leading the nation in improvement in math and in reading, but we need more of that kind of healthy competition and making certain that our kids are getting the education that they need.
So with 2 years left in Arizona, and we got 3 minutes, what do you want to get done that you haven't gotten done?
Well, I want to really take advantage of all the economic momentum that we have. I heard you mentioned Taiwan Semi a few days ago, and of course we signed the Samsung deal, the largest semiconductor deal in the country.
Where's that being built, by the way?
That's being built out in East Chandler.
Okay.
And it's just incredible what's happened out there. The companies, the headquarters, the distribution, the supply chain that Arizona is enjoying right now, the electric vehicles that we're bringing, Lucid, Nikola, Electrica, Mechanica. So I want to really maximize that. I've given a lot of thanks to Jerry Brown as my partner in economic development. Gavin Newsom's proving even better. So to continue to keep our foot on the pedal there, of course I want to get this tax reform done. I'd like to expand educational choice and savings accounts in Arizona. And I've got some ideas around how to make our ballot more productive as well around this initiative process. There's a lot left to do. There's a learning curve as a governor. We've got a lot of momentum. Arizona's in a great spot, and I intend to finish strong not only in the governor's office, but I'm honored that my peers have asked me to lead the RGA. We've got 38 governor's races across the country, including places like Florida and Georgia, Texas, and Ohio, even the state of Arizona. I'm going to care a lot about who my successor is. And then we've got pickup opportunities for the RGA in places like Maine and Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Kansas, and New Mexico. We want to take advantage of all those.
Are you in charge of candidate recruitment for those like Rick Scott is for the Senate?
You bet
campaign?
I am. It's one of the best parts of the job.
Who are you finding up in Maine? I got family in Maine.
Well, I think we might have a return of Paul LePage.
Oh, okay.
And we've got some great possibilities in Michigan, too. Of course, John James, the Naval Academy.
John was thinking
well,
about that.
we're hoping John would consider it. And then we've got James Craig, who is the chief of police of
Detroit.
Detroit. In Detroit, born and raised, beat cop in Los Angeles for 20 years. He said to the mayor he was thinking about running for governor, and the governor said, well, why would a Democrat run against a Democratic governor? And he goes, what makes you think I'm a Democrat? So he's out of central casting, and we're hopeful we're going to have strong fields across the country.
Any chance of anyone in the Pacific Northwest?
Well, you sure would think. It's about the candidate. You know, the candidate matters, and when I look at states like Oregon and Washington, you would think there would be an opening. Is there any chance that Hugh Hewitt's going to relocate to the...
No. I'm never doing what you did. I think I salute you for doing it. I salute all your governors for doing it. Thanks for putting this together and arranging for me to be here. It's great to
see you, Hugh.
We'll be right back, America. Stay tuned.